Hello and welcome students to MechPro classes, my official YouTube channel. Myself Piraj Majumdar, Assistant Professor of Mechanical Engineering Department, GKCM, that is Greater Kolkata College of Engineering and Management under JIS Group. Welcome you to our new session of Advanced Welding Technology, where we will be uploading all the lecture series according to MacOut syllabus day by day. So keep in touch with us for getting daily updates. You can also contact me through 9433465217, that is my personal phone number, or even you can email me at pirasar@gmail.com. You can also connect me through social networking, that is Facebook page, which is known as MechPro classes. So let us start today's online session. Previous class we have started this module 3 and discussed the different types of equipment. Now we will continue our classes on this module on heading power sources. So it is somewhat lengthy, but I will try to make it cover it in 2 classes. Okay, so let us start today's session on power sources of arc welding process. Actually, this we have got this this generator. It might be some AC or DC actually. So first of all, let us discuss about the so this one power source we'll be discussing today. So let us discuss the basics of the electric arc welding, as it will be very much helpful for us to directly understand the basic criteria behind the power source of a arc welding process. So the underlying concept we have to discuss first, that is, in welding, generation of heat is the primary criteria, by an electric arc. Actually, what we are generally performing in welding, we are generating heat by an electric arc. So in welding, generation of heat by an electric arc is one of the most efficient methods. So that's why we are going to need this power source. Actually, what is the concept behind the power source? So in welding, by the help of electric arc, we are generating the heat energy. By that heat energy, we are melting the parent metal as well as the filler material as well. Okay, and by that we are joining two metals. So that is the underlying concept behind the need of power source. Now approximately, this 50% of the energy is liberated in the form of heat. The electric arc welding process makes use of the heat produced by the electric arc to fusion weld metallic pieces. Now this is the one of the most widely used welding process, this arc welding process, where we are going to apply the heat energy. Mainly because of the ease of use, no such high skill is required in performing this type of welding operation, and high production rates that can be achieved economically. So that is the reason why it is being widely used, this type of welding process. That is because of its ease of use and also the high production rate you have to keep in mind. Okay, so I must write it for you why it has gained so much of popularity. First one is the ease of use, and the second one is the high production rates. So that's the two things which made the arc welding process a very popular one. Now, one more thing I would like to discuss, as because it is directly related to the this power source is directly related with this arc formation. So that's why I like to discuss with you the principle of arc formation. I might have discussed with you in the previous classes in basically the physics of welding. In the first module, I might have discussed a little bit about the principle of arc. You might be having direct questions based on this principle of arc generation. So you need to have a rock solid concept of this principle of arc generation. Basically, this principle of arc generation, we have got this contact resistance between the electrode and the workpiece. So that is the main concept behind the arc generation. So coming to the directly principle of arc, an arc is generated between two conductors of electricity, cathode and another is anode, considering direct current. One is cathode and another is anode. When they are touched to establish the flow of current and then separated by a small distance. So an arc is a sustained electric discharge through the ionized gas column called plasma between the two electrodes. It is generally believed that electrons liberated from the cathode move towards the anode and are accelerated in their movement. So when they strike the anode at high velocity, a large amount of heat is generated. Also, when the electrons are moving through the air gap between the electrodes, also called the arc column, they collide with the ions in the ionized gas column between the electrodes. The positively charged ions moving from the anode and would be impinging on the cathode, thus liberating heat. About 65 to 75% of the total heat is liberated at the anode by striking electrons. So it is a noteworthy. You have to keep in mind that 65 to 75% of the total heat is liberated at anode as because of the high striking velocity of the electrons. So the positive charged ions moving from the anode would be impinging on the cathode, thus liberating heat. Okay. And a temperature of about, so cathode and anode, these are the two things in DC. So this will be rushing towards anode, so that's why 65 to 75% of the total heat will be liberated at the anode by striking of the electrons only. Okay. Now temperature of the range of about 6000 degrees Celsius is generated during the arc welding process. Now in order to produce the arc, the potential difference between the two electrodes, that is a voltage, should be sufficient to allow them to move across the air gap. Now the larger air gap requires higher potential differences. Okay, so larger air gap, if the gap between them is very large, so large potential difference will be required. Now if the air gap becomes too large for the voltage, the arc may be extinguished. Okay. So here we make use of an analogy of the person walking on a road. What happens? Suddenly when a deep trench comes in his way, the person would try to jump across it. Okay. So it comes like this one. Say here is a person. Here is a person walking through the road. Suddenly he finds a crater or trench
So what he will perform? He will just simply make a jump. Now say the trench is somewhat bigger, like this one. So to jump over this big trench, he has to move backward, then he have to come running, and then he will just jump over. So much more energy will be required if the trench is big. So that's what is the analogy here is, when a deep trench comes in his way, the person excuse me. So what happens when a deep trench comes in his way? The person would try to jump across it if it is a shorter one. But if it is a broader one, as you can see, is a broader one, then the person may move back a little, come running towards the trench and try to jump over it. Now suppose another case may happen like this. Say the trench is much bigger, which is impossible to cross. So if it is too broad, he or she may abandon the idea of jumping across it. So he cannot jump. So the energy spent in jumping is much more than what is spent while normal walking. So in the case of arc also, the extra energy spent crossing the air gap is liberated as heat only. So that's why the same thing happens over here. Say this is a electrode and we are having the workpiece over here, and this is the gap, as you can see over here. So when the electrons are coming over here, they are releasing the heat. So heat is generated. So this is your electrode and the electrons are moving. So we are having negative electrode and positive workpiece. So electrons are punching and huge amount of heat is generated over here. So this is the analogy for the production of the principle of the arc generation, behind the principle of the arc generation. Now for the sake of simplicity, we have chosen this direct current, DC current, to describe it. But even with the with an arc of the alternating current as well would be similar, with the main difference that the cathode and anode would change continuously. So as a result, the temperature across the arc would be more uniform compared to a DC arc also. Okay. Now here you will find this characteristics of this power source. Okay. So we have got this drooping type of power and constant power. So I will elaborately discuss about this drooping machines as well as this constant machine also in next class. For today only, I will just be discussing this some of the characteristics, this graphs, and we have also discussed about the arc generation. So I will be sticking only onto the graph. In the next class, we will be having some discussions elaborately on the arc welding equipment, that is a power source mainly for the alternating current as well as the direct current. So let us now focus on the different characteristics or curves coming out of the different parameters. Here we have the welding current as well as the arc voltage. So welding current as x-axis and arc voltage is plotted along y axis, as you can see over here. Okay, so now okay, so here you will find this is the characteristics of welding power source. This one, the arc voltage you can see is maximum, and the welding current is also very high, as you can see. Welding current this one, and this is the arc voltage this one. This is very high. Now this is the R and this is the L. As you can see, they are meeting at this point. This is the L2, this is the N1. When L2 is greater than L1, we are having this characteristics of R. That is the resistance actually. Okay, so resistance we are having. Now this is the mechanism of arc stability, as you can see over here, in a welding power source with drooping characteristics actually. Now actually drooping is for manual welding and constant is for automatic or semi-automatic, that is a high current self-regulation or type of welding, as you can see over here. Now the same thing, but we are having this this is the characteristics of welding power source. So this is the automatic control we are having over here. So we are having this unstable point of arc, these 2 points, and the graph shows this one, these 2 lines over here, as you can see over here, this ones and this ones. So these are the resistances, as you can see over here, and this is the L1, L2. This is a stable point of the arc, these 2 points, as you can see, and corresponding are I1, I2 current is given over here. So this is the mechanism of arc stability in a constant voltage. Here the voltage is constant, as you can see, voltage is constant characteristic. So this is the comparison between the 2 power sources. Next is your this constant current power source we have got there. So it will be a change in arc length will cause corresponding change in arc voltage and a very small change in current as well. So electrode melting and metal deposition rate remain constant actually, with slight changes in arc length and greater tolerance to arc length variations as well. Now it is mainly used for manual saw, SMAW shielded metal arc welding, and GTAW, that is a TIG, brass tungsten arc welding process. Okay. Now for different this arc length is given over here for different voltages, as you can see over here. 16.5 volt we are having this arc length as 4 millimeter, where 15 volt we are having this 3 millimeter, and 13.3 volt we are having this 2 millimeter. Similarly, if you keep on decreasing the arc voltage, we are also getting the decrease in the arc length as well. So actually arc length is decreasing and the voltage is also decreasing, as I already had told you that they will be needing much more energy while jumping from this electrode to the workpiece. That's why when the arc length is this reduced, corresponding voltage of the welding is also being reduced. So we are needing almost only reduced voltage while the arc length is being reduced. Now coming to the voltage ampere characteristics, as you can see over here, the same thing here also depicted, that is when arc length is much more higher, this is 6 millimeter, we are having much more higher voltage, but when the current is around 1500 ampere given over here, and when the arc length is shortened, that is 1 millimeter or 2 millimeter, the corresponding voltage is also being reduced. So this is the direct relationship between voltage ampere characteristics of corresponding with the corresponding arc length. The total potential of an arc first falls with increasing current, as you can see, and then rises with further increase in current. So when you are increasing current, then the arc length can also be increased to a certain extent. The initial decrease is attributed to a growth of thermally induced electron emission at the arc cathode and thermal ionization as well. So this is the thing you have to keep in mind. Now Now what I was telling you that in the next class we will continue this power source description in more elaborated way. We will discuss the different machines, different types of arc producing machines, that is the welding machines, or you can simply say the generators or the transformers as well. We'll be learning in a elaborative way. So for today we'll end here. So thank you for watching.